If I compare myself to Brett, status-wise, I'll never make it. I'm just going to try and be myself. I've waited my whole life, I feel like, for this, and try and make the most of it.
By and large, he's been decent decision-making.
I'm pretty sure everything will be fine. I'll be ready to go.
This is manageable. It's not going to affect me on the field. It's going to be fine.
I know that you need your quarterback. As far as not being here with the guys, I really hate it. I know what it takes.
NFL Primetime begins with what appears to be the end of the season for Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. In the first quarter on this hit by Chief safety Bernard Pollard went down. There's a press conference at 3 o'clock Eastern, but it appears that he may be done for the entire season. Trey Wingo here. We continue on NFL Primetime, joined now by Bob Holtzman from New England. Bob, first and foremost, normally the Patriots have had their media availability by this time. They changed that because of this injury. Why?
Well, they did, Trey, and here's why. The Patriots obviously realize how much interest there is Eastern time this morning. They pushed it back to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Tom Brady underwent a number of tests, including presumably an MRI in that left knee. I'm told they won't tell us, obviously, all the details, as you would expect with the Patriots, but at 3 o'clock we should get some kind of an answer as to how serious this is. Obviously, all the speculation is that it's very serious. The only question is if it's all season or if it's just a few games.
Bob, what can you tell us about the mood of the team and the mood of his teammates up to there? I mean, the good news is they added on to their own NFL record. They won a 20th straight regular season game. Obviously, that's tempered by the injury to Brady.
It is. I mean, they were very pleased to have won this game yesterday. Obviously, they showed some heart losing Brady so early in the game, and then especially having their defense hold late. But Matt Castle this morning was talking about the fact that how bittersweet this is for him. I mean, here's a guy who hasn't started a game since high school, who now gets his first opportunity to start a game as a pro, and it's because his friend Tom Brady got hurt. He talked about how ever since he'd been here, every time Tom Brady's been knocked down, he's just popped right back up, and he expected him to do that again yesterday. But this is a team you can expect it's going to take a couple of days for all of this to sink in and for them to turn the page and move forward. They can't afford to look back when they've got the Jets coming up next Sunday in the Meadowlands. They have to turn the page quickly.
Yeah, suddenly that game becomes much more important with Brady out and Brett Favre running the show for the Jets. All right, Bob, thanks very much. So we get to know Matt Castle. Like Brady, Castle was a late-round draft pick, 7th round in 2005. He's in his 4th season in the league. At the age of 26, he's appeared in 15 games in those 4 seasons. He backed up both Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer at USC, but he hasn't started a game on any level since November 24th, 1999, and that was in high school. Primetime rolls on. Trey Wingo here with Merrill Hodge and Trent Dilfer. Okay, the saga in New England, guys, all about adjustments because of what went down in this game between the Chiefs and the New England Patriots and how they adjusted once Matt Castle was into the starting lineup. He got in a very tough situation next to his own goal line. They had a couple of run plays that got him nowhere, and then boom, lo and behold, the airs went out. Trent, you got to like this as your first throw.
You love it. Backed up, coach shows confidence, take a shot, and he just delivers an absolute dime.
And that's 3rd down. They'd have been punting after that.
And they would have been deep in a hole. So he gets them out of that. And later on, listen, it always helps, no matter who's throwing it, you can get it to Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, and this is going to be a theme now, back of the end zone touchdown throws. These are huge. Look at the protection here.
And that's been key for Brady, too. I mean, you give this guy time, he showed he can make some big-time NFL throws in this game.
All right, you can throw it up to Randy Moss, and he can usually go get it. But he also did some other things here really well, like this throw over the middle, Trent, to David Thomas, the tight end.
Yeah, one of the hardest things in young quarterback play is throwing the ball in the middle of the field between zone defenders. There's a lot of danger in there, but he anticipates nicely, splits the zone, gets a big completion.
All right, so he did that well. He also did this well running, although I'm not sure at this point the Patriots want him to be going head first. The hook slide is your friend.
But it is an added dimension that now defenses will have to prepare for if he's going to keep doing this week in and week out. The key is to get down once you got that first down.
Exactly. And then, of course, if it's not going to be to Randy Moss, Wes Welker is also available, and this would end in a field goal. Matt Castle, 13 of 18, 152 yards, as they do win their 20th straight regular season game. All right, so let's take a look at what we know now of the New England Patriots. What does this do now with Matt Castle in and Tom Brady out to a team that was perfect in the regular season a year ago?
Well, I think you make some adjustments. This team's going to be fine. They've been a team of substance for a long time. Those veteran players are going to show up, and it gives them an opportunity to get more balance on offense. And Merrill, I know you're going to talk about it. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Actually, I think the Patriots would have been more balanced this year anyway. Last year, they threw the ball from the shotgun 70% of the time, and people were getting pressure on. They were a one-dimensional team. I think that's one of the reasons they lost the Super Bowl. They wanted to bring more balance to this team. Keep in mind, we already kind of got to see how the Patriots were going to respond to Castle because he played a majority of the game. They responded fine without a game plan for Castle, meaning this week everything will be molded around what he does well, what he feels comfortable in doing, and I expect him to even play better in the next coming week, better than he played against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, as we look at the schedule here for the Patriots, okay, keep in mind we're talking about a guy who threw 50 touchdown passes a year ago in Tom Brady. That's not going to happen.
Well, he's not going to break that record.
That's correct.
I'll give you a guarantee there.
23 touchdown passes to Randy Moss, the most prolific offense points-wise the NFL has ever seen. How does this change everything in the AFC?
Oh, nice. I think it shifts the whole balance of power. I know it's just one person and one injury. I know it's just one, but it's the best player on the the most glamorous team.
Of last year.
The balance of power.
Of last year. You're telling me the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo aren't the most glamorous team or glamorous quarterback in football? Over the Patriots?
Hey, they're just playing one snap at a time, trying to get better each day.
Okay, one snap. Here's one segment at a time. I am telling you this, every year it changes. You know, the best conference, the best division changes. Not one week is going to tell us that the shift just went to the NFC because Tom Brady went down. This team's still going to be good, has a chance to have 10-win season and still get into the playoffs. You still have Pittsburgh over there. You have the Titans with Kerry Collins now that could ultimately win the Super Bowl the way they play defense. So there's a lot of power in it. I don't care that San Diego lost and Jacksonville lost to Tennessee.
The point is it opens up the entire AFC now. Certainly things are a little more. I mean, you had to think going into the season.
I will say
still the team to beat the AFC.
It does create more excitement than you have 32 teams vying for a championship. I do like it like that. When one team dominates, it got to about week 10 last year, and it was like, Patriots again,
you know what's
Patriots
happen,
again. Yeah. So, you know, I do like it, and there's a certain coolness about that, but then I like it when there's 32 options every year to win the Super Bowl all the way into week 10.
Well, I'm not sure if we have 32, but we may have more than we had before Tom Brady went down. And this is going to show us what Bill Belichick can do, because if you go by the numbers, with Tom Brady as your starting quarterback, Bill Belichick's a really great head coach. 87-24, a winning percentage of over 78%. Without Brady. Now, again, this includes time in Cleveland where clearly he didn't have the talent that he has in New England right now. That winning percentage falls to under 420. A total of 7 other quarterbacks have started games for Belichick with either the Browns or the Patriots. Brady's season over. Aaron Rodgers' era begins tonight. Makes his first start in a real game since December of '04 when he started for Cal in the Holiday Bowl. That doesn't sound nearly as long ago as high school in '99 for Matt Castle. But he had a pretty good preseason, completing better than 68% of his pass attempts and a passer rating of 103.6. Time for a Teams at 20 update, and we say hello to Wendy Nix. Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Trey. Tonight, Aaron Rodgers becomes the first quarterback not named Brett Favre to start for the Green Bay Packers since September of 1992. Hard to believe. His teammate Ryan Grant told me last night he is not trying to breed Brett Favre. He's trying to play his game, and he believes that's not enough. Head coach Mike McCarthy told me that while Rodgers did not hit every target they had set during the preseason, he came pretty close, and specifically his field vision, or his ability to see the game develop on the field, improved a great deal since the spring. McCarthy says it is that he will be watching as the head coach tonight. For a report on the Vikings, here's Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Wendy, Vikings quarterback Tavares Jackson was having a very good preseason before spraining his right knee and then missing the final 2 games of the preseason. He was able to practice all of this week. He says that knee is still a little bit stiff, and he's planning to wear a brace on it tonight. Now, meanwhile, Bernard Berrien, whom the Vikings went out and acquired during the offseason to shore up their wide receiving core, missed a significant portion of the preseason with a sore toe. It's the same toe that bothered him all of last year in Chicago. He was recently fitted with some new orthotics that should keep his foot and toe pretty comfortable while he plays. But Trey, when I asked him if he was able to push off of that toe, he said, as best as I can.
All right, Michelle, thanks very much. We'll see if that's good enough for the Vikings. Don't forget Game 2 of our Monday night doubleheader. Darren McFadden makes his NFL debut for the Raiders. Jamarcus Russell takes over as QB. They host Jay Cutler and the Broncos. Mike Shanahan guaranteed a playoff berth for the Broncos after going 7-9 last season. That's the second part of our Monday night doubleheader to kick off Week 1. Still coming on NFL Primetime, Tom Brady, not the only playoff quarterback from a year ago, hurt in Week 1. How bad is the injury to VY in Tennessee? Peyton Manning didn't play all summer long. Did it look like it in their Week 1 Sunday night game against the Bears? Brett Favre is in New York. There are Jets fans that are so happy right now they can't stand it. NFL Primetime rolls on.
Of fencing and 3 years of law school teach you a lot. For him, it's confidence. For me, it's pride. Go to ncaa.student.org to find out how your child could become one of the many student athletes who go pro in something other than sports.
Time to get it on. Showtime. Give me a sip of coffee when I go back in. Oh, yeah. Set the tempo, baby. Let's go. And spin this drive with a touchdown, man.
Good hit. Smack right in the nose. That's what you call linebacking right there.
What a devastating shot.
Just obliterated. Smacked down hard on his back.
That was another big hit. Good golly.
Watching NFL Primetime.
And welcome back to NFL Primetime. Guys, Peyton Manning did not play all summer long. Practiced for the first time last week after surgery to remove that infective bursa sac in his left knee. Would we see any rust as they went for their season opener Sunday night against the Bears in their brand new stadium? Peyton Manning, I don't know, looking a little nervous perhaps before the game. He just seemed this much off. And I know it's just a little...
I felt he was. I felt he was, Trey. You know, I mean, you got to realize what Peyton Manning likes to do more than anybody. He takes all the reps in practice, and his habits are amazing because he knows how he must beat.
Misses that one to Reggie Wayne, the offensive line completely letting him down. And then Joseph Adai gets sacked by Wally Agunleye for the safety. And Gian Robinson in for Dallas Clark gets no seal here, Trent.
Backside blocking is key, especially coming out on an inside zone play. And Dallas Clark would make that block.
And then Manning, not the only one struggling. Here's Marvin Harrison. He makes the catch just like he did in the playoff game against the Chargers, drops the ball, and lands
that a lot lately.
Boy, this is the Bears defense from 06. Not only did they get turnovers, they scored off him as he comes down for the touchdown. Harrison struggles would continue. This is a perfect throw by Peyton here.
There was a couple of these perfect throws that the receivers usually make. You know, just a little off can turn to on fire if these guys make the plays they normally do.
They couldn't burn them when they blitzed, and so they had a 4th and 1 controversial late in the game here to go for it instead of pin them deep. They went for it, and there's no offensive line help up front. Dominic Rhodes back the other way. Matt Forte, the running back out of Tulane, the rookie. Boy, he looked impressive, Merrill.
His strength coming out of college. He's got great feet. He can move laterally and vertically, explosive and fast, and he showed all of that on that run right there.
123 yards, 50 of them on this touchdown. Bears go on to win it 29-13. Okay, we talked about the rust, Merrill, as we watched Peyton Manning. It wasn't a big thing. I mean, he was 30 of 49, 200 and something yards, but you could tell there was just this little razor's edge that Colts offense normally has that wasn't there.
On some of these throws, not all of these throws, but you got to realize Peyton Manning, and I said it over the highlights, he takes every snap in practice. Most quarterbacks, if there's 20 snaps, they take 15, let the backup take 5. He takes them all. He's meticulous. That's what makes him great, because his habits are so outstanding. Well, you don't have all those reps in preseason. I knew it was going to take an effect. And, you know, this right here, this pitch play is an example. That's usually a stretch play, but they didn't want to wear on that knee, so they went to the pitch. That takes away a lot of the run action. This throw right here, it's a completion, but you have to go get it. You can't run after the catch, which Peyton is so good at letting you run after the catch. This one travels high on him. I mean, usually always gives you a chance to run after the catch. And I don't care how tight the coverage is, and he usually never blows it when you got a rolled up corner like that. You know, and I can just tell he wanted to get rid of the football quicker than normal. He's got a great clock, but he wanted to get rid of the football a little quicker than normal.
And the Bears did a great job of getting him off his mark. The whole game plan was get him off his mark, make him move. Although that's what they tried in the Super Bowl. He made him pay, but they understood he wasn't going to be as mobile this time.
And we talked about 3 or 4 inches. You know, that ball's inside a little more. I've seen Peyton make that throw, the last one we saw, and people walk in the end zone. I've seen him, I mean, week after week after week, throw it in tight windows like this, right where it needs to be. And I didn't see that on a consistent basis, and it's what makes the difference. He is one of those players that offsets the deficiencies of his team more than any other player in football, and he just wasn't able to do it. And I think those lack of reps were an effect on him.
Conversely, Kyle Orton looks like the Bears may have made the right decision. He made a couple of great throws right before the half and deep in the game, both to tight ends, Desmond Clark and Greg Olsen, that really put them in great position.
Yeah, they did a great job, their coaching staff, finding some matchups. They put the tight ends outside, zone man reads. If a linebacker or safety walks out, they know it's man. This creates pick and stick routes for Kyle Orton, which on the road against a great pass rush, there's nothing wrong with that. Pick a guy, let it fly, let's move the chains, take advantage of our limited opportunities.
And this is just for Merrill to make him feel better. Any good running back will certainly help a quarterback, and the Bears
you hear that, Jaws?
That
I know you're watching.
Matt Forte. Inside the numbers, you look at what the kid out of Tulane was able to do. 123 yards on 23 carries, the most yards ever by a Bear running back in his NFL debut. His inaugural game was a lot better than some other notable Bears.
Some big-time names right there.
Look at that. Now, listen, he started better than Walter Payton.
Walter Payton, can he end better?
That's exactly right.
I don't know.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Payton in 75, 8 carries for no yards in his NFL
That's an amazing
debut.
stat on Walter.
And it turned out okay for Walter.
Yeah, not bad.
So
best ever.
It's a work in progress. All right, Jets, Dolphins. I don't know if you heard. Brett Favre is no longer with the Packers. He's now with the Jets. He seems
comfortable.
Like he's contemplating.
But see, you know, he's on the road there no matter what, whether he's for a Packer or a Jet. So
that is correct.
He's comfortable when he's
His
on the road to another
first
team.
regular season snap complete to Lav Coles for a 6-yard gain. 2 plays later, look, it may not be stylish, it may not be quick, but it's effective.
Oh, man, it's the longest 2-yard run we'll see all season.
Oh, he got there, though. That's all that matters.
That's why it makes him the most instinctive quarterback to ever play the game. He plays with amazing instincts.
He does have that. And then, ladies and gentlemen, he also has this, which the Jets didn't have a year ago. Let it go, baby!
Last time the Jets had a ball travel that far in the air, they were kicking the ball off.
Jericho Cotchery on the receiving end of that 56-yard strike. Play action was great.
Yeah, play pass, 40 slant scissors, deep 702. This is a staple of this offense.
Yeah, it's a great route combination. Miami's going to go back in their coverage and rotate it. But that crossing route, when pointed out that corner, he's got to be alert for anything coming back. And with the post going inside to climb on the safety, well, he's thinking, well, I got to be alert for this crossing route. Brett's staring at it, but then he goes to the post, the deeper route. Corner hesitates for a second, and because of Brett's arm strength, you can make this throw. You wouldn't even design this with another quarterback there. You do it because you have Brett.
ESPN Axis technology. Now, 4th and 13, Mike Nugent can't kick. He hurt his hamstring, so he might as well throw it up. And if you do it for 16 years, Trent,
hey,
it's not a fluke.
Early 90s, we thought it was a fluke. Mid-90s, we thought it was by chance. He's been doing it 17 years. This is Favre magic.
Well, this wasn't by chance. It was by Chancey Stuckey, actually, who got the touchdown. So Chad Pennington now, the former Jet quarterback playing for the Dolphins. They're only down by 6 now, and he got him within range. Here, Pennington drops it off to Ricky Williams. That's a great throw right there, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock. 2 plays later on a 2nd and 1. Again, going to the running back, Ronnie Brown. We thought he'd run out of bounds, but he cuts back in, and luckily he still gets out of bounds, a gain of 8. But it came down to this. 13 ticks left, a touchdown and an extra point. They win it. Chad Pennington with 11 left is going to throw it into the corner of the end zone, and it's caught by Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis outbattles Ted Ginn for the ball, Trent.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Receivers always tell me, hey, just throw it up in the back of the end zone. Hey, Ted Ginn, make a play. Don't let that thing get picked.
Darrelle Revis made the play. The Jets and Brett winners week 1.
A win's a win. They never get old. You know, all the stuff that goes along during the course of a game. Big plays, bad plays. You know, that's what it's all about, you know, to walk off that field with a win. I've said this from day one. I know I made the right decision. I enjoy these guys. There's no guarantees what's going to happen the rest of this year.
Nobody knows that winning feeling walking off as a quarterback more than Brett. Week 1, T.O. versus Braylon. It was no contest as the boys beat up the Browns in Cleveland. Plus, Donovan McNabb apparently doesn't need no stinking starting wideouts. Whoever you got, I'm throwing it to him, and he lit it up week 1.
Monday Night Football is back on NASN with a live doubleheader. First up, an NFC matchup as the Vikings square off against the Packers at Lambeau Field. Then longtime rivals hit the gridiron as the Broncos take on the Raiders. Coverage starts with ESPN's Monday Night Countdown. Live NFL tonight only on NASN.
Looks like a power play, huh, Mike? Sure does. ESPN 360. Wherever and whenever you're online, you're at the game.
Major League Baseball continues on NASN with more live midweek matchups. First up, the A's travel to Motor City to face the Tigers. Then in the National League, the Marlins and Phillies battle as the playoff races tighten. Live midweek baseball only on NASN.
Welcome back to Primetime. I'm Wendy Nix in Green Bay with a Teams at 20 update. Packers running back Brian Grant has practiced just 5 times since last year's NFC Championship game due to a contract dispute and then a hamstring injury. Mike McCarthy told me yesterday Grant will play tonight, but his reps in that hamstring. That said, McCarthy says he expects his team to run early and often tonight. Several players told me he got in the face of his offense this week and challenged them to run and run effectively. Trey?
All right, as we continue on Primetime, Trent, look, there have been other players that have been more scrutinized coming into their first start in their NFL career. none come to mind than what we're going to see from Aaron Rodgers tonight.
I was going to say, who are they?
I'm sure there's one. Steve Ventura,
you brought it up.
Feathers. I don't know.
You brought
I'm
it
sure
up.
there's somebody that will have been more scrutinized. But again, at the top of my head, I can't think of any at the moment. How does he deal with this, and what do you expect to see out of Aaron Rodgers tonight?
Well, the kid has ice in his veins, and for as much pressure as we've put on him, we better be ready to heap the same amount of praise upon him when he goes out and does what I think he'll do, and that is run this offense efficiently, show why he was a first-round quarterback, and show why the Packers made a very difficult decision, but one I think for the long term they're going to be very happy about. And it's going to be very simple how they do it. They're going to do it by spreading people out and giving them early completions early. You're going to see right now, this is the way you attack the Vikings. Spread things horizontally, get the easy throws, minimize Jared Allen in the pass rush. Once again, any quarterback hasn't started wants to see a horizontal spread on the football field. There's more space there. The throws are easier.
Is ice in your veins in the preseason the same as regular season?
It's not.
It's not. Okay.
But I've been following this kid for a long time. Since
you like
back at Cal. I really like him. I love his makeup. You know, they talk about the it factor. We're going to hear about with Jay Cutler. Aaron Rodgers has the it factor.
Well, one thing that he does have, you know, going for him, because everybody knows about Jared Allen, the pass rush from Kansas City, came over to Minnesota. Well, Aaron Rodgers has a left tackle named Chad Clifton, who dominated him last year when the Packers were up in Kansas City and they played up there. So I would feel that if I'm the Green Bay Packers, I feel very good about Chad Clifton when I've got to throw the football. If we're going to spread it out, it makes that ice in my veins even cooler, because I know that their guy who wants to pile drive me, and he's already mentioned that, he may not be able to touch me unless there's a stunt and twisting going on, or he goes to the other side of the formation, which he actually ended up doing in the matchup when they played the Green Bay Packers.
That is true, but the two defensive tackles that Jared Allen lines up with in Minnesota, Kevin and Pat Williams, which, you know, they're both condos, are a little better than what he had in Kansas City.
Very true.
And oh, by the way, I don't know if he can get any football out of this, but the way Aaron handled everything this summer, so classy. He did everything the right way. If nothing else, he gives his teammates confidence going in to his first start. But Merrill, there is another quarterback who will be scrutinized in this game, and that's Tarvaris Jackson. He dinged up his knee early in preseason. He's going to play. But look, when you have Adrian Peterson, the aforementioned defensive line, and everything else that they've got going for them in Minnesota, they need Tarvaris Jackson to be that missing piece.
I agree. You know, and the way that you play this game with all of your instincts, one ingredient is key. You must have confidence. And Tarvaris Jackson, just because you've played does not mean that grants you confidence. In fact, the way he played last year, he probably lacks confidence based on how he played. He made bad decisions, people started to get on him, and they really made it hard on the play calling. It was hard for him to throw a slant route or a little hitch route. He lost confidence by playing. So what I'm going to watch in this game is how do they bring him along early in this game? What kind of throws do they give him? Now listen, you got a lot of things you can do. The Packers play a lot of man-to-man, so there can be some rub plays and some screens that you can run that really would help Tarvaris Jackson. But how they play call early is going to be interesting with Tarvaris Jackson, because they got to get his confidence up.
You're absolutely right. And most quarterbacks I wouldn't say this about. I'm all about throwing the ball from the pocket with timing and rhythm. That's what I grew up believing. I still believe it. But this run offense is so dominant. I'm looking for one thing and one thing only, Tarvaris Jackson. Convert some third downs. Give AP more opportunities.
They did not do last year. Last season in 2007, the Vikings passing attack 28th with 171 yards per game. Jags, Titans, another quarterback under scrutiny. Vince Young had a rough start to his season. Second quarter, Titans up 3-0. Young throwing it to, I don't know, Gerald Sensabaugh, who actually catches it, but he plays for the Jaguars, and that set up a Jacksonville touchdown. Now, under a minute left in the first half, Titans up by 3, 10-7, trying to get his team in scoring position, and Justin Gage is wide open, but he airmails it over it.
Recognition, anticipation, accuracy. You got to have them.
I'm feeling that that's a theme here.
This is a gimme here.
Chris Johnson, that would have been a first down on third down. Fourth quarter, the Titans have just intercepted David Garrard, and he gives it right back to Derek Harvey, the rookie who had the holdout forever. His passer rating in this game, 45.6, 12 of 22. Later in the fourth quarter, Titans by 3. Young's pass to Lendell White is dropped, but on the play, Young is injured, remained down for several minutes. You see, oh, you don't like to see it. It almost looks worse than the Brady injury with the way Darryl Smith rolls into his left knee, but he would limp off the field, had to be carted off. It looks like he's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. So Kerry Collins comes in, the ageless wonder. 3rd and 15, his first play from scrimmage. Bo Scaife, help a brother out, and he does.
I'll tell you what, when Kerry Collins stepped on the field, this team had more energy. It had more life, and this is what happens when you bring those things to your offense.
44 yards on that one. Scaife had 6 grabs for 105. 2 plays later, Collins to Justin Gage Merrill.
The power of the AFC. It stays there. It has not been shifted to the NFC. Kerry Collins is back.
Stop it. That would set up a Lendell White 1-yard touchdown, put the Titans up by 10. And the Titans defense, boy, we saw this, that memorable game last year between them and the Chargers where they beat Phillip Rivers to a pulp. They just get after him. Vanden Bosch blows by Khalif Barnes, forcing a fumble that Vanden Bosch would also recover, and a sack. He had the triple Lindy on one play.
You know what? He could be the defensive MVP at the end of the year based on what he did last year and the way he's playing this year.
And then Tony Brown there, they held him just 189 yards. Last play,
Three-man
it's
rush.
a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and you got to throw this, and we talked about the AFC quarterbacks. I love David Garrard, but he held the ball way too long all day long, especially there.
1 pick in 13 weeks a year ago, 2 in week 1 in 08. When we continue on NFL Primetime, the Browns were ready. Sadly, so were the Dallas Cowboys, as Dallas was dominant on the road. And no Steve Smith, no problem for Carolina, even though they were on the road facing what could be a super San Diego team.
Amani Toomer on a post pattern.
Pumps, looks, throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Amani Toomer. Walk in the back of the end zone. Nobody open. Now he's it. Toomer's open downfield in the end zone. Touchdown, Giants.
Throws off the back foot. Man, they're caught. Touchdown, Toomer. Pumps, looks, throws left. Caught. Touchdown, Giants. The 50th career touchdown catch of Amani Toomer.
Throws it into the end zone for Toomer. Makes the catch. Touchdown. He got his feet down.
September on NASN. The Warriors of the NFL return to kick off another regular season.
He is in for the touchdown.
MLB's best begin the hunt for October and a place in the postseason. And the college football season is up and running, including Ohio State versus USC in one of the sport's best non-conference matchups.
What a catch!
September on NASN.
Primetime rolls on. Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys in Cleveland taking on the Browns. Terrell Owens and company lofty goals for the season. And LeBron James continues to endear himself to Cleveland fans by wearing a Yankee hat on the field. This just in, you could set up a barbecue, paint your car in the time that Tony Romo had to throw here, a 19-yard completion.
What does this remind you of last year?
Tom Brady?
Brady was waiting.
And the chip here by Marion Barber.
What division is it? NFC?
It's conference, actually.
Yeah. Conference.
That's all right.
We only played
our conference, right? Marion Barber, great job.
Again, look, honestly, I think
it looks like Brady
he just took out a loan on that completion to Terrell Owens. And again, plenty of time, and if you have that much time, you can go deep, and T.O. will make this one for a 35-yarder. By the way, on this one, he ties our own Chris Carter for the second most touchdown catches of all time, 130, and then he got a 15-yard penalty for being Usain Bolt. It's not worth it! As for Braylon Edwards, Trent,
ball. When you drop balls like that, and then you're getting ready to see right here a touchdown drop, this is equivalent to a quarterback in the red zone. It takes points off the board. Your job is to catch the ball, catch it.
Now listen, he had a great year a year ago. He's been bothered by the heel, but much like Peyton Manning, he just wasn't as crisp as we've used to seeing him. And a couple of these other ones here, this one he'll make almost every time, and it just goes right through his hands.
I mean, that was hot, but, you know, the other two that we saw, you got to catch.
Braylon Edwards,
you're going to be the best in top 5, you got to make those
Two catches for 14 yards. Marion Barber is the feature back, and don't the Browns know it, the way he ran through them and over them.
Woo, wicked. I know that he has some cartilage, not broken ribs, and I'll tell you this, sometimes cartilage is much worse than broken ribs, so hopefully he'll be able to be effective against the Eagles Monday night.
Yeah, that's our next game, by the way. 16 carries, 80 yards, and here are some more of them. He got everything going. They had 487 yards in total offense, and then when he went out, boy, they loved the rookie Felix Jones.
How about the burst here? Burst and power, second-level blocking with that combination is dangerous.
9 carries, 62 yards. Cowboys and T.O. loving it, 28-10.
We got some things accomplished. You know, obviously, we want to try to cut down on the penalties, obviously, and you know, I think it was a good start, you know, for us as a team.
We faced a good football team today. Cowboys, they're pretty good, and we made them better. We missed some opportunities. I think that was the story of this game.
You know, it's one game of 16. It wasn't our best effort. You know, I expect more than 10 points out of us. You know, we got enough playmakers, and you know, and I think other guys expect the same.
All right, so the Cowboys impressive. The Eagles were very impressive. Donovan McNabb stepped onto the field healthy, but he didn't have either of his 2 starting wideouts. And you know what? It just doesn't matter. That's why they drafted Deshaun Jackson in the 2nd round. 47-yard game, Trent.
This kid showed great ball skills at Cal. Really strong hands for a littler fella.
106 receiving yards, 97 return yards.
Fella in there?
Brian Restbrook is a semi-little fella, but he had 2 touchdowns and over 90 rushing yards. Again,
a good little feller.
No Reggie Brown. It didn't matter. No Kevin Curtis. This one is Jason Avon for a 31-yard gain. Let's throw in the tight end, L.J. Smith. Quarterbacks love tight ends.
Hey, back of the end zone, touchdown throw. 8 different receivers caught balls from McNabb. What a day.
14-0. McNabb with the play fake. Listen, I feel like a 52-yarder to Greg Lewis, and the Rams were like, okay, whatever they wanted to do, the Rams let him. 5 grabs, 104 yards for Lewis. And then Hank Baskett, all he does is make touchdown catches of 89, 90 yards. This is a 90-yard racer up the sidelines, 21 of 33. McNabb was for 361 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Is that Detroit out there?
No.
It was like Detroit of last year.
Well, those uniforms were worse. Sheldon Brown, remember the big hit he had on Reggie Bush in that playoff? Oh!
But guess what? Offense wins on that one.
That is correct.
Anytime a defensive player gets hit like that and gets up.
Eagles win 38-3. Again, Cowboys, Eagles, next Monday night on ESPN. Panthers, Chargers. No Steve Smith serving a team-forced 2-game suspension for the fight. Sean Merriman, many questions about him. How will he hold up with those torn ligaments in his knee? Here he stuffs D'Angelo Williams, only one of 2 tackles recorded by Merriman in this game. Now, he actually left the field early before halftime, but he did come back in the 2nd half. This was a wild game. 3rd quarter, Panthers down by 1. Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates. Yes, and then wait, the ball comes out and picked up by Chris Gamble, and he goes back the other way, and just like that, the Panthers are up 16-10. Oh, John Fox is happy.
Yeah. You very seldom see Gates give up the ball like that.
Well, you know what? He made up for it about here. They're down 19-10. Phillip Rivers rolls out. What a rope that was, Trent.
Very quietly, Phillip Rivers is becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the pocket and moving out of it.
And in the AFC.
That cut the lead to 2, and then Jake Delhomme hits DJ Hackett, and Antoine Cason hits him, forces a fumble. Sean Phillips picks it up. Chargers take over in Panthers territory. On the ensuing drive, 3rd and 5, just over 2.5 minutes to play. Vincent Jackson. Well, that was too easy.
You know what they call that? A jerk route. Well, wide receiver on a linebacker always makes the linebacker look like a jerk.
Way to break it down for us scientifically. Jake Delhomme coming off that Tommy John surgery. Again, no Steve Smith with under 2 minutes left. Tight end Dante Rosario over the middle. He had 7 catches, 96 yards.
He's important later.
Well, he was important then, too. Later in the drive, Dwayne Jarrett, the 2nd-round pick out of USC, a year ago, gets a 1st down. Now, here's where it got close. There's 6 seconds left. They got to go to the end zone. No, they throw it to Muhsin Muhammad, and they quickly call timeout with 2 seconds remaining. Now, Trent, haven't you talked about some sort of theme this year so far?
There's been this theme about touchdowns where? In the back of the end zone. Look at it. It's vulnerable, and you've got to have an arm to make it, and Jake Delhomme has a cannon.
And a big wide receiver or tight end that can go up and get it as well.
Dante Rosario, like you said, Merrill, he was big later. Yeah. And the Chargers lose to the Panthers 26-24.
Reminiscent of Joe Montana.
Well, Clark, don't even go there.
Although the game's not as big, right?
When we continue, Big Ben, really, really big. Then again, everything about the Steelers' win over the Texans was large. And the Saints playing at home, and boy, is New Orleans glad they did. Tampa Bay, not so much.
College College football continues on NASN as we bring you a live triple header. First up, the Cal Bears take on Maryland. Then Arkansas face Texas. And finally, in one of the biggest games of the season, the USC Trojans face the Ohio State Buckeyes. Coverage starts with ESPN's College Game Day. Live college football only on NASN.
For live commentary, news and scrum.com. Any
NASN is giving you the chance to choose which live game you want to see with an MLB viewer's choice. See the Twins face off against the Rays in Tampa Bay. The White Sox battle the Yankees in New York. Or catch the Phillies fight for a win against the Braves in Atlanta. Choose which game you want to see and visit NASN.com now to cast your vote. A Major League Baseball viewer's choice. Watch the winning game live on September 18th, only on NASN.
Kiss it goodbye! Another tremendous home run off the bat of Carlos Delgado.
Monday Night Football is back on NASN with a live doubleheader. First up, an NFC matchup as the Vikings square off against the Packers at Lambeau Field. Then longtime rivals hit the gridiron as the Broncos take on the Raiders. Coverage starts with ESPN's Monday Night Countdown. Live NFL tonight only on NASN.
Welcome back to Primetime. I'm Michelle Tafoya in Green Bay with the Teams at 20 update. The Minnesota Vikings had the NFL's best run defense last season, giving up just 74 yards a game. In fact, they didn't allow a 100-yard rusher all season, except for one, Green Bay's Ryan Grant. Grant ran for 119 yards in a 34-0 shellacking of the Vikings here at Lambeau Field last season, and that stuck with Vikings defensive tackle Pat Williams all summer long. It ain't going to happen Monday night, Williams has promised. The Vikings defense wants to shut down the Packers' run and make Aaron Rodgers beat them. Williams told me Brett Favre used to stand in there and make those throws. We want to see how Aaron Rodgers handles it.
Primetime rolls on. Texans, Steelers. Just for people to make sure, Mike Tomlin on the left, Gary Kubiak on the right. And one of those coaches was happy, and it was the coach who employs the Steelers offensive line and Willie Parker.
Great call here. This is called Sprint 43. You take advantage of pass rushers. It's a great run. Guard and tackle are important. You got to engage, throw them up the field, and then get to the second level. You account for them? It's about Willie Parker's speed and instinct.
Well, we talked to Big Ben in our NFL Live training camp tour. He said people are blown away by our offensive line, and you know what? Right. They blew people away in this one. Look at Justin Hartley and Kendall Simmons take their men out of this play. Willie Parker gets into the end zone. All right, that's 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 all of last year. Hang on, kids. We're not done. Take a look at what's going on here.
The line to the outside. Those linebackers do the 3-4. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the best blitz concept from a 3-4 package of anybody in football.
Well, they
originated there, so it should be.
Yeah. But those, Steelers always have linebackers, whether it's Ferrier or Lamar Woodley here coming up and making the pick right there. Listen, Lamar Woodley was great. Had a sack and the interception. You name it, they had it going.
You're there, Trey. What'd they say? These young linebackers have to step up, and they did in this game.
You mean like that, where Lawrence Timmons closes on Ahman Green?
That's what you needed. Dick LeBeau's got to be loving their defensive coordinator.
No, he sits right out there and plays his responsibility to perfection, and the close is what you love.
He does what? His job.
Yes, exactly.
That's what you're supposed to do. Do your job.
And then James Harrison, who had a breakout year last year replacing Joey Porter, continues to do this, gets by Dwayne Brown and sack shot. Parker actually had 3 rushing touchdowns, surpassing last year's total. It was ridiculous. The Steelers roll 38-17. Seahawks, Bills, this one was a rough one for Seattle. Great for the Bills. Kevin Everett receives the George Halas Award before the game. Nice to see him out there. And look at the burst by Marshawn Lynch. Goodbye. Have fun storming the castle. A 21-yard touchdown, 7-0 Buffalo. You want special teams? Boy, they gave you special teams. Roscoe Parrish, Trent. See you later. Couple of moves, 63 yards.
And they need special teams. They are not great on defense or great on offense, but they are great on special teams.
14-0 Buffalo, and their special teams got even more special. This is a field goal attempt. Ryan Denny appears to be running off the field, but oh, it's a fakie, and he stays in. No one notices him, so Brian Norman throws it to him. What kind of passer rating does that get you?
Trey, I don't know a whole lot about passer rating. Mine wasn't very good, but I think that's perfect.
Yeah, 1 for 1 with a touchdown. I'll give you that. 27-10 on the ensuing kickoff for Seattle. By the way, the Seahawks are screaming mulligan at this point. Josh Wilson gets nailed by John Cordo. The ball comes out, and the Bills recovered. That's a perfect hit on the ball going in.
Yeah, you know, I hate to see a guy get punished for the kind of effort he was given to. But that's what happens when you're spinning and
Slick
fighting.
ball. And tell you what, Trent Edwards, this kid's going to be something. 19 of 30, including a 30-yard rope to Robert Royal. Bills take a 34-10 lead, and they hold on to win. Bucks, Saints. After all the talk maybe having to switch home dates with the Tampa Bay Bucks, Reggie Bush and company are in. First quarter, just nailed Drew Brees was by Phillip Buchanan. He returns it for a pick.
There's some picks you feel awful about, some you don't. That's just a good play by the Buccaneers getting a rush.
You don't feel sick about that, but it is a pick 6.
Because you come back with this, the most accurate deep throw passer in the National Football League, Drew Brees.
To Devery Henderson, 84-yard touchdown, 343 yards on the day for Drew Brees. All right, what about Reggie Bush? Second quarter tied at 7. Now, Brees is going to loft one here to Reggie, and look at Rondé Barber unload on him, Merrill.
When you get a beat like that, that is danger. What's unfortunate, Rondé Barber took more of that blow than Reggie Bush did.
Yeah, he did. The ball came out. It's ruled an incompletion, but that sometimes can set up something else.
Yep, sometimes you have to take one for the team, Reggie, because it gives you opportunity against man coverage, not zone, to do this. And check this move out. Oh, my goodness, that hurt.
163 total yards rushing and receiving for Reggie Bush. He was the threat right there. He got that one little block, and that's all he needed, Merrill.
This is where he excels, on the perimeter.
24-20, the Saints come up with a huge interception late and seal the win. When we continue on Primetime, what has been an unusual start to the season, rookie quarterbacks, apparently that was the best thing you could have done week 1 in the NFL.
So, EJ, we've designed you a signature shoe worthy of a 3-time All-American with mad smarts and sick leadership skills. Ta-da!
There are over 380,000 NCAA student athletes.
Yeah, you got your GPA embossed, right? There.
I love it. And just about all of them will be going pro in something other than sports.
Can I get it in a loafer for casual Fridays?
Yes. Yes.
Franz, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Franz Beckenbauer, happy birthday to you. So what would you most like for your birthday?
Well, it would be nice to turn the lights off and bring in a cake, but seriously, if ESPN Classic were to play all the games in my whole career, which were the best ones, that would make me very happy.
And so we make his day with an evening dedicated to the Kaiser at his very best. Happy birthday, Beckenbauer. The 11th of September on ESPN Classic.
NFL Primetime.
Primetime rolls on. Falcons hosting the Lions. Meet Matt Ryan, first quarterback taken in the draft. And let's just say his career got off to a pretty good start. This is his first career NFL pass attempt.
And Trey, you need timing, anticipation, and accuracy.
Had all three. That's a 62-yard touchdown pass to Michael Jenkins. Trent, I know nothing about quarterback play, but I think that might be a perfect passer rating.
I think you might be right.
9 of 13, 161 yards and 1 touchdown. He didn't have to do much because the Lions could do nothing about this. Michael Turner, oh, he's not behind LT anymore, but he is behind the Lions secondary, Merrill.
What are you talking about? Pressing the hole, pulling the backside, and then you get the cutback and use your power and your strength.
A 66-yard run. Their first 2 scores of the year were 62 and 66 yards, Merrill.
We'll see what happens. He presses the hole, the contained guy gets his shoulders turned, and that gives you options to get the cutback, and then a great job of finishing the run.
Well, he did that not once, but twice.
Gracious.
This one, just a thundering load in. Falcons up 21-0. Again, great blocking up front.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of runs where Michael Turner didn't get touched till he was way beyond the line of scrimmage. And Vince Lombardi would love this. There's a seal here and a seal here and an alley right there.
Well, he wasn't the only one. Now, he set a single game record for the Falcons with 220 yards, but Jarius Norwood comes in, and he goes in there as well, 31-14.
And I swear all fast guys should wear white pants because it makes them look even faster.
Well, they looked very fast on this one. 318 yards for the Falcons. Arthur Blank is so happy. The Lions are not, 34-21. Because remember, just like last year, John Kidna, who we all like, says he still believes the Lions will win 10 games. Well, no, not so much. They're 0 for 1, and he's a spot cross, a tad miffed, even a bit irked on the sidelines. He still has time to work on that. Then you have the Bengals and the Ravens. Joe Flacco better than Ocho Cinco because he's still Chad Johnson because of some jersey rules with Reebok. It all makes sense. So when you have a rookie quarterback, of course you want to play to his strengths and throw a double reverse, but at least Flacco throws a block here.
Hey, you want to endear yourself to Ray Lewis? Then go downfield and make a block that springs your receiver for a touchdown. He's a hero in that locker room this morning.
42 yards, Ravens up 7-0. And then Flacco on the move completes this one to Derek Mason, 11-yard pickup to the Bengals 38. Now this is the opposite, I think, of the white pants make you faster. Slow guys should not wear purple pants because it seems to make you slower.
But the great blocking downfield and in the game plan for the Bengals all week, I can assure you this, they were not concerned about him running for a touchdown, especially 30 yards out.
38 to be exact, they should be now. Ravens up 17-3. Carson Palmer had nothing going on, Trent.
Well, it is really hard to complete the ball when you're getting hit like this and on your back all day long.
I mean, look, the Baltimore defense is tremendous, but the offensive line had some problems in this game.
Think they want Willie Anderson back?
In the preseason, the New Orleans Saints exposed this team, and they have not corrected anything since.
Right, it was an interesting move to let Willie Anderson go, and again, nothing worked. Oh, that should have been an interception there by Terrell Suggs. Haloti Ngata will now lay him out, and Ngata, that's what the Bengals offense basically did. Palmer, 10 of 25 for 99 yards. John Harbaugh gets a win, week 1, 17-10, and a nice shower. Cardinals, 49ers. It is J.T. O'Sullivan making his first NFL start. First quarter, 49ers down 3, second and 11. It don't come Kesey, as in Zach Kesey. Hit not once, but twice. Oh, my gosh, as Darnell Dockett just lays him out, forcing the fumble.
That's a dangerous route for a tight end or a back. When your head is turned back to quarterback, you cannot see what's coming. And when you turn around, you get to see what's coming.
Well, I tell you what, we've talked about this Cardinals secondary that could be real good now, and O'Sullivan throws that one over the middle, and Adrian Wilson picks it off. The only interception of the game, but that Cardinals secondary now, with Antrell Roll and Rogers Cromartie, they have a lot of playmakers back there.
They do.
Then O'Sullivan drops back, and Bertrand Berry on the defensive line can still make plays. Knocks it out of his hand. Antonio Smith recovers for the Cardinals and returns it to the 43-yard line. So third quarter now, 49ers down 13-10. It's a pooch kick by Arizona. And Takeo Spikes, well, that's really not what he's there for. Cardinals recover, and Mike Nolan is thinking, this can't be what I signed up for. Fourth quarter, Travis LeBoy, get down! 49ers lose. The Cardinals win. O'Sullivan 14-20, 195 yards, and 1 interception. When we continue on this edition of Primetime Performers, who are they? Who are the Primetime guys? We had many to choose from. We'll tell you who next.
Monday Night Football is back on NASN with a live doubleheader. First up, an NFC matchup as the Vikings square off against the Packers at Lambeau Field. Then longtime rivals hit the gridiron as the Broncos take on the Raiders. Coverage starts with ESPN's Monday Night Countdown. Live NFL tonight only on NASN. NASN is giving you the chance to choose which live game you want to see with an MLB viewer's choice. See the Twins face off against the Rays in Tampa Bay, the White Sox battle the Yankees in New York, or catch the Phillies fight for a win against the Braves in Atlanta. Choose which game you want to see and visit NASN.com now to cast your vote. A Major League Baseball viewer's choice. Watch the winning game live on September 18th, only on NASN.
All right, time to hand out Primetime Performer Awards. Merrill Hodge, where you headed?
I'm going with a factor-back performer. Michael Turner had speed, power, explosiveness, and he did have some gaping holes at times, too. That offensive line did a great job.
220 yards, single game record for the Atlanta Falcons. Trent, what about you?
I'm going Donovan McNabb, 16 of 24, 297, 3 touchdowns. Oh, that was the first half, and more importantly, he had a swagger to him. He's got his mojo back. He is going to have a huge year.
Well, he was tremendous. 361 yards without either of his starting receivers. I'm going to go with the group effort because it's all about team. The front wall of the Dallas Cowboys, they were the Great Wall, which allowed Tony Romo at times in Cleveland. He could have built the Great Wall of China. Look at that. That is reminiscent of Brady of a year ago. The offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys, my primetime performers. Most important thing you saw, quickly, week one.
Most important
thing?
Well, because we were in the Steelers training camp, how their offensive line played and their 2 linebackers responded. Their young linebackers, Timmons and
Woodley.
Dallas Cowboys, they didn't have the attention on during training camp because of Brett Favre, and they came out poised, prepared to have a great year.
All right, looks like that could happen. Don't forget Cowboys and Eagles next Monday night. We got a double dip starting with the Vikings and the Packers. Countdown with Chris Berman comes up 5 o'clock Eastern. I could keep going, but my mic will be off soon. See you.